This is where the gold begins its flow, the West African country of Mali, the continent's third biggest producer. I'm on the road to a modern gold rush, fueled by the skyrocketing price of gold. This is the gold trail in West Africa, but it doesn't look much like it. This is still a very poor area with dugout canoes used to cross the rivers, no paved roads. This area has seen almost no development, despite the incredible value of the trade. The poorest of the poor throughout West Africa are rushing to primitive gold pits known as artisanal mines. Working conditions here are abysmal. And critics say the biggest price is being paid by the region's children, who are being exploited and poisoned while they pull the treasure out of the ground.
There couldn't be a bigger contrast between the situation of, 6, 7-year-olds or 14, 15-year-olds working day in, day out under very harsh conditions in these mines, and the beautiful world of jewelry somewhere in Switzerland or the US or elsewhere.
Julianne Kippenberg from Human Rights Watch has just written a 90-page report documenting the horrendous conditions under which tens of thousands of children work in the gold fields throughout West Africa. Is this hazardous for the children who are working here?
Not only is it hard work and then you're tired from it, it is actually hard work that gives you everyday pain. Back pain, headaches, joint aches, and it will create long-term spinal injury for some of these children who are carrying very heavy loads and are pretty small.
Children like Samba. He was put to work pulling up the gold ore, joining the small army of children who work mostly on the surface, while the older miners labor deep underground. I see you're very strong. You can pick up the whole bag by yourself. How long have you been doing this?
This is my first day on the job.
Samba traveled 200 miles to come here so he could help support 5 younger brothers and sisters, but he's still trying to hold on to his dreams. Do you want to go into the mine one day?
No.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
If I had the chance, I'd like to study, and I'd like to be a soccer player.
A soccer player?
Yeah.
Play football? Well, instead you're working here in the mine, and it's very difficult work. We saw many children and many adults working incredibly long hours, going into mines, carrying heavy bags. On average, how much are these people making?
$3 a week or $4 a week.
$4 a week?
Yeah. Many children, the majority of children that we interviewed didn't actually earn any money at all.
Today is this boy's first day at work, and his supervisors say that they're not going to actually pay him any cash. Instead, he'll get a bag of dirt, a bag of this ore that's being pulled out of the ground, and maybe it has gold in it, and maybe it doesn't, but that's going to be his wages for the day. And Samba is not the only one working for a pittance. The entire Sissoko family spends all day shoveling gold ore, unaware of the value of what they're digging out of the ground. Do you know that gold is now at the highest price it has ever been?
No.
Do you think that you are being underpaid for what you do?
I don't know if I'm exploited. I only know I get paid $4 a day.
His 2 children get nothing at all for their work while missing a chance for a better future. Do you and your brother go to school? You don't go to school. Do you want to go to school?
Yes, I would like to go to school.
At the end of another exhausting day, the Sissoko children are just too tired to complain or to dream of another life. Are the people who are actually taking the gold out of the ground seeing a benefit?
No, they don't really seem to get much out of that at all.
But more people are being pushed into the gold industry because prices are higher.
That's right. At the same time, you've definitely got a gold rush.
It's even pulling the kids out of school in boom towns like Kofing, according to the school's director.
I found it shocking to learn that there are 145 children going to the school, but that there are 200 to 300 children working in artisanal gold mining full-time.
And it wasn't very hard to find them. Little Feely was out panning for gold. Were you in school today? No school today. What grade are you in school? You're in 3rd grade? Do you ever find any gold in here? You do? Oh, that's really good. Congratulations. You can see where there's the black soil, and then right on the top is a cluster of gold dust. But there's a danger unknown to most in the gold fields. Many young people are exposed to mercury, widely used to refine the gold ore. Julianne found 14-year-old Kadiatu touching this toxic metal with her bare hands.
The main problem is that mercury attacks the nervous system and has long-term negative health effects. It can lead to intoxication and ultimately it can kill people. If she's pregnant, which she might be, it could also impair the development of the baby.
I didn't know that.
And she's not the only one. Many villagers use mercury, which binds with the gold flakes in the crushed ore, right in their own backyards. And this is a toxic process.
It's a very toxic substance. One should not touch it. There's no information about this, and there really needs to be action from the government, but also the international community to address this.
And her hands are now covered in mercury. So if she goes and cleaves clothing or prepares a meal for the children in this village, they'll be getting some mercury poisoning.
Yeah, they're at risk of definitely being poisoned with mercury. And then in a while, she or probably her husband actually will burn this amalgam, this mix of gold and mercury, and the vapor that comes from that is the most harmful of all.
The fumes,
yes,
as they burn it off.
You can't see it. It's very vicious. You don't even see where the mercury is. It's just, you know, a gas at that point.
So this is the result of her work. This is the gold that's been left over after the mercury has been burned off. Well, let's get it back to her, and she'll have this weighed now, and see what it is. Ma'am, this is yours. After consulting an ancient scale and today's gold price in Mali's capital, the verdict comes in. So almost a gram, $30. That seems well below international norms for the price of gold.
Yeah, sure, and it's also very hard work what goes into it.
This is the first step in getting artisanal gold out of the ground, digging a manhole-sized pit 20 feet straight down. Looks like hard work. Sweating just sitting here looking at him. The more treacherous mines go 6 times deeper, and they pockmark this entire area. Ça va? I'm going to go down, but let me check the rope first, okay? And you guys, don't drop me, okay? To get to the bottom, I would take all the protection I could get, except for my shoes. What's wrong with the shoes?
No way is he going in with shoes, because it will bring us bad luck and we won't find any gold.
But my feet aren't as strong as your feet. I think I'm going to hurt myself if I don't go in with shoes.
Yeah, it's a spiritual problem for us.
It's a spiritual problem to go down with the shoes. Oh. All right, well, I don't want to upset the spirits. I'll go down with no shoes. But now, I need good spirits, okay?
Tell him to hurry up. They are wasting my time, and it's getting late.
All right. The first couple of steps look easy, with carved footholds to climb down.
Okay, a little more rope. See if I can find another foothold.
But 20 feet down, the footholds suddenly stop.
There are no more footholds. So I've been pushing my weight against the other side and using the rope a little bit. Okay, I'm almost there. Oh, there's the bottom.
Wishful thinking. In reality, I still had a long way to go.
All right, I'm going to go down to another level. Slowly, slowly. I'm going to just lower myself. Make a little toe hole here. Okay. I think I've made it. Wow. I think we've broken into another mine over here. It's like a beehive. Sava, how are you, gentlemen? You good? I finally now made it to the bottom. There are 6 workers down here with picks chipping into the rock. There are some very, very primitive wooden supports to try and keep this mine apart. Aside from the rock, the rest of the surface is just soft mud. And a big concern, at least that I have, is that this mine could just collapse. They're digging right underneath these wooden supports, just wood logs pressed together. Part of it held up by a plastic bottle. You want me to do it? Okay. All right.
Once I made it to the belly of the beast, 8 stories down, I had to pitch in.
There we go. Good? All right. Is there gold in this? Il y a de l'or? You sure? There's gold in this. And there goes the bag. The entire time, little bits of rock and mud have been falling down onto us. I hope it doesn't, but I'm very worried that this mine is going to collapse on you. I'm going to get out of here.
Easier said than done.
Oh, gosh. There's really nothing to hold on to here. Okay. I can See the light? There the handles. Okay. All right. Let's go. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was a one-time experience. It is very, very deep. The sides are smooth. The ceiling continues to cave in the entire time around you. They're digging sideways, not just down. And it is thoroughly exhausting. My hat's off to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is very difficult. And very deadly. 2 days before we arrived, the miners told me they pulled out a young man who had suffocated deep underground. But that didn't stop my mining partner from going back in. You went to the bottom of the mine. Did you think you were going to die today?
I don't care if I die or not. All I care about now is finding gold.
This is the next stop on the gold supply chain. Local middlemen who buy up the 4 tons of artisanal gold that Mali produces every year. This is about $7,000 worth of gold. It's not as crude as what the villagers produce. This has all the iron removed, it has all the mercury removed, it is just pure gold. Do you think the system is functioning well for the people working underground with their hands and with shovels to produce ultimately the gold that's in front of you?
Because gold prices are so high, they can make a lot of money. But how they divide it amongst themselves, it's none of my business.
That's the refrain you hear all along the gold supply chain, from these dusty streets to the international gold traders who buy artisanal gold.
Switzerland and Dubai are sort of the main destinations, but there are many other countries as well. Belgium, Spain, Portugal, the US. About 12% of global gold production comes actually from artisanal gold mining. So it's not the majority of the gold, but at the same time it is a significant proportion.
And then what happens? Once it reaches an international hub, is the gold just all mixed together and no one knows where it came from?
Yes, it does actually get mixed, and obviously it gets also further refined, and then until it reaches the retailers and the shops.
But this year, for the first time, British retailers can begin to know exactly where their gold is coming from, and they can sell jewelry made from so-called fair trade gold.
Why would I want to exchange a wedding ring with my lovey-dovey spouse, and that gold in that ring that could have created 2 to 3 tons of toxic waste?
Greg Valerio helped set up the fair trade system in Britain, which supplies gold produced by artisanal miners willing to reduce their mercury use and stop child labor in exchange for a higher price. Now he's come to work with jewelers in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
If you really want to drive change on the ground in continents like Africa, we have to get the Americans really engaged. So for me, it's an absolute no-brainer, because the American consumer consumes the most amount of jewelry of any country in the world.
Valerio is trying to convince American jewelers to adopt the same system, because right now they have no way of knowing if the gold they're working with was produced under the terrible conditions we saw.
The consumer needs to drive the change by asking for traceable gold. We need the jewelers to ask their suppliers, where does your gold come from? The problem that you have, there's no need to disclose where it comes from.
But children like Samba can tell you where it's coming from. After a long day pulling rocks up from the mines, he stands in line waiting for his pay dirt. 2 buckets full that he hopes contain some gold ore.
I have no idea how much I'll make because we are paid in debt. After I wash and refine it, I'll get paid for the gold that might be inside. That's it.
Samba sleeps in this plastic hut 200 miles from his family, right next to the machine that will grind down his gold and his life.
The main reason I left home is to help my parents, and sending them money is my main goal.
And we're joined here in the studio by Richard Engel. At least you had the experience in tanks and war zones to know you're not claustrophobic, but look at how it wore you out. Think of the work these kids are doing.
Most of the people who go down deep into the mines aren't the youngest children. It is just too difficult work. But the children, sometimes 5, 6, 7 years old, are the ones who are pulling the rocks out, and many of them hope that when they get older, They can go down and work in the mines and dig these shafts that go down 8, sometimes 9 stories down.
Now, we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, people, when they have a choice, try to be good-hearted. They try to be good consumers. So how do you know when these specks get melted down and go out into the larger world?
Well, in this country, you don't know, because there's no system in place to find out if your gold watch band or your wedding ring came from a place like this. Because really, most people aren't asking. The gold comes out of the ground, as the report said, 12% roughly of the world's gold from small mines like this. And then it gets all mixed together, put into gold bars, and then distributed, so you don't know. What would be required is people to start asking these questions and to demand a supply chain so that they know exactly where it came from, the country of origin, and the kind of practices that are used.
Richard Engel, thank you very much for your reporting tonight. Of course, the effort goes on to track this gold down. A lot of folks who see this story are probably going to try to want to know about finding out where your gold comes from that you buy, and trying to buy gold that has been mined responsibly. We have much more about these efforts on our website, rockcenternbc.com.